Hey everyone, Chris Raymond here. I am the automotive technology instructor at Casper College, and I'm going to try and bring you a little content today with the help of WyoMoto, this great channel here that's been doing stuff for me. We're going to bring a little information to you. My name's Chris, and I teach an automotive program. Some of you may also know us from some of our Rally Centra adventures that you can also see here on the channel. And of course our Facebook page. I'll plug some of those here at the end. So what happened, and this kind of came out of luck, was I had an opportunity to do a couple timing belt sets on some personal vehicles. And I've experienced this, and a lot of my friends who are professional technicians have experienced something similar, where some of the aftermarket kits seems like they aren't made with genuine components anymore. They've gone kind of a cheaper route. I've heard this a lot with several manufacturers. One in particular that used to be really popular was Subarus. So we're just going to talk about that, and it just so happens that I had for two different personal vehicles. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. I purchased both of these for vehicles that I own that I need to do timing belt sets on. And we're just gonna, like I said, it was kind of luck that I had these different kits here, and we're gonna actually take them apart and take a look at them and see what the components, where they're made and what they look like. So I'm gonna start off by saying I only have Continental and I've got AC Delco. I will say that manufacturer-specific timing belt kits, specifically with Japanese vehicles, are made in Japan still, so as far as I can tell. Toyota and Subaru are some that I've had recent experience with. The Rally Centra, when we did that a couple years ago, used all OEM components, and that was all made in Japan, Nissan stuff, all high quality, looked really good. There's also the Gates component kits that a lot of people use, and I've used loads of them on Subarus. I used one just recently on a family member's vehicle, and I did find that some of the components were made in China, a couple were still made in Japan, and we even had a component that was made in the USA. I unfortunately don't have that with me. And I've used those kits before that had half and half parts, I guess you could say. And all on daily driver stuff. None of it gets worked really hard. None of it's race car stuff. And it seems to be holding up just fine. But I've had some experiences and heard from friends of mine that that wasn't the case necessarily on some of the bearing components that we have here. I'm not going to go in depth about timing belts or what to do or how to do how to change one out or anything, or necessarily what each component is. We're just going to talk about different components and kind of where they come from. Here I've got my two kits. I've got an AC Delco and then I've got a Continental kit right here. The AC Delco is going on another Subaru. 2009 Impreza is what I got this one for. Got it from the website, nice and cheap. There are stickers on both of these, a little bit different, but they do give us some information as to where some of the parts come from. So I have my AC Delco, I have my Continental kit. This one is for a mid-90s Mitsubishi 3-liter non-turbo 3000 GT that I have sitting around. So a little bit different application. Still a kit. Here on AC Delco, it specifically says that we have parts made in China, made in the USA, and could be anywhere from Brazil, Canada, China, France, Germany, Hungary, India, Japan, Poland, South Korea, Slovakia, Turkey, all kinds of stuff. So they label just about anywhere you can imagine on AC Delco. On Continental, it says made in Japan. So I'm actually really curious when we open that one up, how many of those parts are actually going to be from Japan. That might be really interesting. Okay, so we'll start here first with the AC Delco. Again, just a generic kit. We can link some of the part numbers if you guys want in the description. Those of you who are technicians or have used kits before, any kit that I didn't mention, or have any input as a professional technician on what some of the other manufacturers are using, please go ahead and put that in the comments. Let us know. Again, this is based off of my experience as a technician, what I've been working with. So, all right, let's get our kit out here. Looks like the package has already been opened. Okay, these timing belt kits do include the water pump, both of them. We got our tensioner, a couple of our idlers here. Our water pump. We have a kind of a spacing alignment tool there. Okay. Did come with gaskets, that's great. Loctite stickers and some instructions. Awesome, we won't worry about that. Here's the components I really wanted to take a look at. So, right off the bat, I noticed that this kit actually looks really similar to a Gates kit. I'm just checking some of the packaging here. This actually looks almost exactly like a Gates kit. It's like it's a rebadged or something in an AC Delta box. So, all right, here we got the belt, and it does say right on it that it's a Gates belt, T304, made in the USA. So there's probably our USA component right there. I imagine probably the only one we'll see out of this kit. We've got a tensioner here. It does have some markings on it, more than usual. Those of you who've done some of these Subaru tensioners before will recognize that this area has been beefed up a little bit to correct an issue from earlier cars, so it does look like that's been upgraded. And it does say made in Canada, and that is a new one on me. I've seen loads of Japanese ones, factory ones. I've seen Chinese made tensioners. This is the first one I've seen from Canada. So I'm trying to take a closer look here. From what I can tell on the actual bearing part, this might actually be Japanese, though I don't see any made in Japan markings on it. Okay, so we've got our 3 idlers here. So let's see what kind of markings we have. Again, another Gates brand on the back of this idler. Same on this one, another Gates marking, and both of these say China on them. This one does also say Gates and doesn't say China on it that I can see, but definitely has some of those markings that I've come to get used to with some of the Chinese made parts. So I'm pretty confident in saying that these 3 items all look like they're made in China. This one, and I've done a lot of Subaru timing belts, that's my background, was a senior master Subaru technician. The design of this, the shoulder on it is pretty standard, but the other design on this pulley does look different, very different from, it's got a different feel from some of the Japanese and OEM components that you might see from Subaru. All right, last piece out of this kit here is our water pump. Actually looks pretty close to a factory unit. It's nice, does also say Gates on it. And I see no other indicating marks here of where it's made. Don't know if the box specifically says. The box does tell us specifically that the water pump is made in China. So, and it does have the Gates branding on it right there. So, there we go. There are our Subaru timing belt components. And like I suspected when we started, it definitely just looks like it's a rebranded Gates kit like we've been dealing with. So I told you I didn't have a Gates kit today, but it kind of looks like that I do. So we did kind of get to see that. So there's our Subaru, there's our timing belt kit. Some of the components are not fully Japanese like they've been for a long time. But you know what, I can say that I'm not necessarily concerned about using that on that particular vehicle. Again, it doesn't get a lot of hard use. It's not a race car of any kind. I'm pretty okay with that. So I will say that the last Gates kit I did was one of their competition kits and had the blue colored belt, for those of you familiar with that setup, and I really ran into the same kind of stuff. A lot of the bearings were Chinese, tensioner, water pump. The belt was still USA. I do remember that last kit. It wasn't exactly the same, but it was a Gates competition kit. Okay, now for our Continental timing kit here. And now this one I was really interested in. I haven't opened this yet. I promise you guys this is the first time I'm doing it. I'm really excited about this. It says made in Japan, just made in Japan. So let's find out. Now this was for a 3000 GT, mid-90s, 3-liter non-turbo, of which I am less familiar, so I may not recognize any factory differences on this one. Again, if you're a Mitsubishi technician or you spend a lot of time around these cars and you see something in this video, please let us know in the comments any differences that you might see from the factory stuff. Alright, so we've got our water pump, we've got a couple idlers here, looks like one is part of our tensioner assembly. Of course, some instructions to help us out. This one came with quite a few seals actually, so water pump gasket, seals, looks like we got some cam seals here, so that's kind of handy. Again, we'll set those aside, we're not really too worried about those right now. Okay, so here we've got our Mitsubishi kit. I'm going to look at the belt, and it is a Conti Tech belt, which is a Continental belt, and it is not made in Japan, it is made in Germany. So, our Japanese kit so far has a German component in it. Alright, let's see here. I've got my first idler slash tensioner pulley out. And this one is Koyo. That's a brand I recognize. It does say Japan on it. So that is a Japanese made bearing. Alright, our next one here, just a flat out idler bearing. No tensioning action. And again, it is a Koyo bearing with Japan written right on it. That's something I'm very used to seeing early on in my career on the Japanese kits, the aftermarket kits, and also, of course, the OEM stuff that we used for Subaru look just like this Koyo branded Japanese bearing idler components. Alright. Got our water pump here. We'll go ahead and open that up. Okay, again, I'll have you guys look at that. I've seen loads of Subaru water pumps. I haven't seen nearly as many Mitsubishi water pumps, so I don't know any differences right off. And as far as I can tell, GMB, looks like there's some quality control date markings on it. Otherwise, I'm not getting any indicators of where this might have come from, where it was made. Feel and look nice, but it's hard to say. I don't know. There is a GMB marking right there. I don't know what company that is, what brand, whether it comes from Japan, maybe it's a German thing, or maybe it is actually a Chinese component. I'm not really sure. So there are a few nicks on the mating surface here of the water pump. Nothing crazy though, it looks like. Second timing kit. So again, overall really happy with the Continental kit. It didn't really disappoint. Yeah, the belt was German. I don't really have a problem with that, even though it says everything comes from Japan. But I really like, and here's what we were really concerned about, is these idler bearings. Both of these are Japanese and they look like OEM style units. So actually that's that's really impressive. I am pretty happy with that. So, looks good. All right, I don't have a problem using either of these on the cars that I'm going to use them on. If it was on my nice daily driver or the Rally Sentra, yes, I would probably want to make sure they were OEM, quality Japanese type stuff. Probably the way to go if you have any concern about it is just use OEM components. But for the situation on these two vehicles, I really don't have problems with either one of these kits, though I will say I love seeing the Japanese made stuff going on my Japanese car. So it seems to work nice. Be of a higher quality supplier to OEMs. I do prefer that, I think. So all right, again, if you guys saw anything that I didn't notice, you're familiar with some of these components, you have anything to add, please comment below, let us know what you think. Also, of course, if you liked what we did, like, subscribe, again, comment, let us know. This kind of just came about by chance. I didn't really intend to do regular content or anything. This fell in my lap and I thought it'd be a great idea. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you got something out of it. If you want to know more about automotive stuff, feel free to check out caspercollege.edu. Check out the automotive program. That's where we're hanging out today. If you want to learn about cars and like them, you want to have a career in that industry, thanks to WyoMoto for helping me put all this together as usual and making it work, turning it into an idea, or taking it from an idea to something that actually you guys can see. And of course, check us out, the Rally Sentra, Function Autosport. We're on Facebook. You can check out some of our adventures on there. Had a great time in Raleigh, Idaho here recently, which you can see on this channel. And all right, thanks for watching, everybody.